Hi everybody, this is Ellie. Thanks so much for joining me today for a flip through of the month of August in my standard size bullet journal. If you've watched my other videos, you'll know that I switched to standard inserts for July and August, what I've affectionately called my standard summer, and I still love this size. There's something about the shape and the size of it that feels so good in the hands and is so functional for me. This is the Traveler's company cover, and I'm not sure how well the camera is picking it up. I see a lot of shine, sorry about that. But it has definitely gotten its fair share of scuffs and scratches, and I love it all the more for it. I took off my pen loops because I've already put one away and moved the other one to my September pocket setup, but I did use the pen loops all month and they were great. I will link to my setup video for the month of August, which will have all of the details and the links to where I got these specific items, but I used these stickers. Having them right there front and center was great for me. I also used these stickers that I had in the back, some Note and Wish, the label stickers. I also had my little dates in this little pocket that I've shown, so I loved the Traveler's Company accessories. One of the things that's a lot of fun about standard size for me is that I was able to use one insert per month, and I just like that feeling of starting fresh and being able to decorate it and know that if something hadn't worked in July, I could change it up for August or leave it out altogether. So that was something I really enjoyed. I used my index a little bit. Again, here is where I will write notes that I want to potentially access again someday. So I just write the title and the pages or page that it's on. My August task list, I did work on all of these this month, so I was happy about that. I kept up with my printable calendar here from 3 years apart, just marked off every day. And I've mentioned in previous videos that this month has been a bit of a challenge for me, and you'll see that reflected in here. I'll talk about it as I go. But I used my Calendex really consistently for the first half of the month and less consistently for the second half, but I did still get in there, which makes me happy. My August calendar, I put appointments, birthdays, my Instagram posts. This week here is totally empty. That's a week that I struggled with, and that's okay. This is one spread I'm really good about, even if I have to go back after the fact and fill in a couple of days. This memory spread brings me so much joy and is kind of minimal effort for maximum return. So I always make it a priority to get to this one. I used some different lettering styles, and I just stuck with the same pen and the same Tombow for the most part. So the Unisigno in the 0.38 and the Tombow in the N89. And I like that. In previous months, I've used stickers and colors, and I love that too. But this one kind of challenged me more to do some doodles. Like when we had Swish LA, I tried to do a little impression of a chicken dinner there, and if we watched a movie, I could do a little film reel. Did a Headspace intentional walk, so I tried to draw their logo. My trackers suffered big time this month. Again, I was pretty consistent for the first half of the month up until the 13th, and then it just fell off. Sometimes that happens, things just aren't serving you, and I feel like that's okay. It was okay with me anyways. I just gave myself grace about it, gave myself permission to let that go, and it doesn't bother me looking at it, to be honest. It just lets me know that I was having a tough time and I needed a break, and I took it. So that's a reflection of my real life, and I'm okay with that. And we move into my dailies. So I didn't end up having anything to write in my future log, and I was glad that I only left half a page for that. The first half of this month is very similar to July. I use the date printables from 3 years apart, which are wonderful. I first saw Amanda at Ink Imperfections do this kind of 2-column style with these dates, and I love it. I printed the first week on Tomoe River paper and the rest of the month on just my regular printer paper. And it was okay. I did notice that it was thicker when I started using the regular printer paper. And I think more than a month would really bother me and I'd have to use Tomoe River paper. But for 1 month at a time, it was fine. I still do my hand lettering and my doodles. I talk about this book all the time. It's from Camo's How to Draw Almost Every Day. And the doodles are from an old Cindy Baldo challenge. So I just have them tipped in the back there so that I could see them, check the spelling, and check them off once I was done. So typically this is tasks, notes. I usually do some spending if I'm watching anything, and journaling. Doodles and hand lettering will go wherever. This page I used for notes. I've been listening to Brené Brown's podcast Unlocking Us and really enjoying it. I'm a huge Brené Brown fan. I used a little emoji from the Coffee Monsters Co. This guy is one of my favorites and I think it's perfect for podcasts. And just jotted down some points. I also printed out a post from the Passion Planner that just kind of has an image on what I think success is and what success really is. And that kind of thing just helps remind me to keep perspective. I have my weekly reflection and my rolling weekly. This was going pretty well. I wasn't using this fourth quadrant for anything. I didn't put any Monday prep or a quote here, just left it blank. This is where I tried my TWSBI Eco for the very first time, and I'm happy to be finally using that. Here I inked it up with a different ink, so I'm just playing around with that. I have some notes for inserts that I wanted to get for my medical setup. Used a sticker here. I really liked doing the doodles larger here. They're just so bright and happy. Practicing with my fountain pen a little bit more, just trying to get used to it. I didn't feel like journaling on this day, so I did my hand lettering in a large enough size to take up most of the page. And then I just searched for a doodle of Luna Lovegood and did my best to recreate it there. I think she turned out super cute, and I just used the same Arteza pencil crayons that I use for my everyday doodles to color her in. It's my weekly reflection. Gave myself a quote here to give myself permission. My rolling weekly. And August 10th, so this is about the point where I think I was struggling a little bit with having the energy to journal. And what I ended up doing is keeping my task lists going, and where I would usually write my little jot notes of what happened that day, my little memories, I switched over to doing that on the side, and I did it in this bigger style, which is one of my favorites. It's what I imagine brush lettering is if you're doing it with a regular pen. I shape the letters the same way that I would with a brush pen, if that makes sense. I just obviously don't have the thicker downstrokes. So I really like it. It's meant to be a snapshot, and I will include any sort of kind of details or bullet points if I want to, some doodles. Still got my hand lettering in here, which gets more real estate on the days where I don't journal. I love this. I used my dual metallic pens from Pentel, and I hope the camera's picking it up, but it gives a really nice gold shimmer. Sometimes Camo's book combines doodles over multiple days, so I love when that ends up being on a spread like this because I can just take the space on each page and kind of see how it goes together. This page is from a Plan With Me spread that I did, so I will link that video. Here I've gone back to notes on the side and journaling. What I really love about using a bullet journal is that even though I do set up a week at a time, the page is blank for the most part when I get to it, except for my date and the routine. And so I can approach it like this or journal if I feel like it. And here we are, yeah, pretty much exactly the midpoint where it just felt like a lot. I was going through a little bit of a low mood, and that's reflected here. I still get into this though, and this type of noting doesn't take me very long, and I always enjoy it once I start, which is true for almost all of my journaling. Sometimes it's just the starting that's the hardest part. My weekly reflection started getting used less, and my weekly tasks not at all. I accidentally did this hand lettering on the wrong page. I didn't realize that I already had written Wormtail up there, so I really like this font, so I did it again. Gave me some good practice. And I really like this too. I feel like adding in little notes like this is enough to give me kind of a really nice reminder and special memory of that day. This is a super cute doodle. That one was one of my favorites that I've done this summer. Quidditch here, I used my gold pen to color in the snitch again. A little bit of journaling on the side there. This one was fun. I'm trying to do a teeny bit of blending here with my pencil crayons, which I've never done before, but I like the idea of it and it's fun to play around with. I have some notes for a video that I posted there. This is a busier day, so I just kind of did it a little bit smaller. We went to watch my brother's baseball game on this Monday evening, which was really nice. It felt like an excursion. I think it's because we were near other people. We weren't beside them, obviously. There's plenty of space, but it just felt nice. It felt like a community type of experience, which we haven't had a whole lot of this summer because of social distancing. So it was really nice to go and enjoy that with my family. I also used this sticker from the set in the front and this little baseball munchkin from Once More with Love. In this last week, I decided not to do my weekly reflection and my rolling weekly task list because I knew that I wasn't going to use it. So that's why I left this page for journaling instead. And also because I knew that I've been struggling a little bit to get into this and facing an empty page could be a little bit daunting sometimes, I did go ahead and lay down some washi ahead of time for the rest of the month. So I really liked how that turned out, and that's why you'll see more washi on these coming pages. So here I've gotten back to my task lists. I'm just writing out my notes. I'm having a lot of planner chats with some friends because I'm still figuring out exactly what I want to do for 2021. On this page, I printed out a post from Bless the Messy that says, "Learning to bend and flow with what life brings." And I love the sentiment and I love the art. It left me a little less space for hand lettering, so I just wrote it in my regular writing. I did my snitch, same gold pen, task list, partially completed. I'm okay with that. I put a quote on this page and I printed out a little picture of Desi lying on top of the laptop with all my planner books spread out on the bed. I actually got the idea to print out my pictures in a Word document from Sarah Martinez, which was super helpful. It means I don't have to use my HP Sprocket all of the time. The only thing is my printer quality is not great. That being said, totally fine. It still lets me know what I'm looking at here, and I love having this as an option. It says Neville. I did some poor spacing here, so I drew a little frog doodle at the end. This day, actually, if you saw my stories, I posted a little clip that my family and I went on a Segway tour, which is not something that I would ever choose for myself, but it was for my dad's birthday, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, I was petrified. You have to let me know if you've ever ridden a Segway, but I was scared and really nervous, and he kept telling me to lean forward and not be afraid to fall. But when you're leaning forward and getting closer to the ground, it was very hard for me to not be afraid of that. And it's funny too because like it was a really good activity because it was safe. It was just the 5 of us with the instructor who wore a mask, and we had to go in a line. We were going along a canal where we could see the locks where the boats would rise up to continue on. So really, really neat. But we had to go in a line, and you know how when you were in school and you went on class trips, the teacher always chose a partner, and it was like a special treat, but really the partner was the person who would need the most support. Yeah, that was me. I requested to go at the end of the line, but no, I got to go right behind him the entire time. So anyways, it was a lot of fun, and it left us with some super good memories. So I'm so glad that I did it. I just printed out some pictures of us here. I tried to cover up just our faces so you can see the Segway and one of the huge ships coming through the canal. And my dad turned 60, and it was we just had a lovely time. I was able to jot some notes about the pictures and do some journaling so that I can really remember that experience. And we come up on the end of the month. I have some video notes for my September setup. I wrote another quote on this page. And on the 31st, we had a girls' day. We ordered some sushi, watched a movie, and that was a really, really lovely way to end the month. At the end here, I had some more pictures that I wanted to print. So this is a day that my brother was working on his car, and we all just hung out in the front. My neighbors actually had a swimming pool installed, and it was a fiberglass pool, so they lifted it over their house and kind of dropped it or gently placed it in the hole they had dug. So all of the neighbors came out to watch, and it was neat. I've never seen anything like it. So that was that day. This is just Paul in the pool. And this is a day that Paul and I just went to a local park to sit and read and just enjoy some green space that wasn't the backyard. And this is him relaxed and reading, and I'm tromping around trying to take glamour shots of my planner covers over here. So this makes me laugh. It was a lovely day, and also it's just hilarious. And this is something brand new that I'm trying this. This is a template from Zoe at Stationery Squirrel, and I've seen her do it for the past few months, and I think it's such a great idea. It starts with just writing out the categories and then filling them in, or at least that's how I did it. So reading, watching, listening, eating, drinking, creating, planning, needing, wanting, loving, not loving, wishing, trying, grateful, inspired, making time, and quoting. So it was great. Like for watching, I've been watching a ton of Blue Jays. It's such a short season that I'm trying to enjoy it while it's here. I'm wanting to incorporate more routines. You know, I'm loving the movie that I watched on my girls' day. I'm trying riding a Segway, big moment. So I love this. I've actually already prepped my September review in the exact same style in my September setup. So this was great. It's really simple and fast to set up. Like I said, I wrote down all the categories first, and then I just sat with it for the next 10 or 15 minutes. And it made me think and really reflect, but it also kind of gave me a guide, which I needed. In September, my goal with my setup was to make things as easy as possible for myself so that I would actually get in there and use it. And this falls right in line with that. At the end here, I have some notes pages. I was trying to figure out my 2021 planner thoughts. I'm not there yet, guys. I do know I want a Hobonichi cousin for sure, and I will be continuing on with my bullet journal, most often in pocket size. We'll probably see standard again. And this was when I was getting ready to transition out of standard and back into pocket size, and I wanted to figure out what that would look like and how to make the setup the most simple and functional for me. I'll link that video up above my September pocket setup. It's one of my favorite monthly setups, I think, so it should be hopefully a joy to use this month. I do have some empty pages at the end of this insert. I thought I would do some more notes, but this month was not a month for a lot of note taking, and it's left me with some empty pages, but I'm okay with those empty pages. I had just tried out some Tombos and color swatched the pencil crayons that I'm using from Arteza. I have my grid spacing page, which is always helpful. And I did start putting down my little washi ends, which I've always loved doing. And that brings us to the end. Looking back through August is actually a really interesting experience for me because in the middle of it there, I was really feeling like it was such an effort to plan. And I am always aware that eventually I would like to share this with you guys. At the same time, I was pretty good about making sure that didn't inform my choices when it came to planning. I never want to force myself to journal or to make spreads because I know that once I start doing that, it'll take out a lot of the enjoyment for me and just put on a lot of pressure. Side note, you could see I'm having trouble picking these pages up. It's just because all of the date covers are kind of stacked there. Anyways, I know that I appreciate watching people who are honest and whose planners reflect their daily lives, whether that's super messy or super neat or, most likely somewhere in between, whether it's decorative or just pen and paper. I love it all as long as I feel like it's reflecting someone's life and how they actually use their planner. And for the most part, everyone I've come across feels like they're sharing that, and I always admire and appreciate that, and getting these glimpses into people's planners, which can be so personal. So I just wanted to make sure to be as honest as I could be and come out here and say, yeah, it was a tough month. I did still get into this because I do love my planner and I love practicing my hand lettering, and I especially love looking through it at the end. So really, when I do feel kind of low and it's harder, I'm not doing it for the reward that I feel at the moment. I'm doing it for future me who knows that I am going to love looking through this and be really thankful to myself that I did take the time and energy, whatever that looked like. And I also know that when I look at those trackers with those empty spaces, I'll know that I was going through, a bit of a tough time, and I'll be okay with that. I'll be able to give myself grace. Blank pages are fine. Pages with just quotes are totally okay. And anything that I get down, I think is something to celebrate and to enjoy. That's my August flip and my last month in the standard size for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.